Welcome to Work the Left Side. We are back for episode 4 of Royally Rumbled. It is 1991. I had to do quick maths in my head then. Yes, this is episode 4. It is myself, Bobby Cash, and DJ King, the terrific trio, back for this one. No guests, just us. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I don't like guests anyway. You just make our podcast last even fucking longer. It last 2 hours on the last episode. Jesus Christ! And it was a guy you didn't even like.
I know. I mean, you could at least get people that I do like.
I
like you guys. That's fine.
I'm the
That's
forever guest.
Forever guest.
Yeah. Oh, I like the sound of that. Forever guest.
Forever guests.
Forever guest. Forever guest. So yeah, as we said, this is 1991. Obviously, we all enjoyed 90. Everybody kind of rated that as being the best one yet. But we did say, are we going to get a dip before 92? Because obviously 92 is like the pinnacle to a lot of people, or one of the best two ever. So this has got the pressure of being the one before 92.
Was something I wanted to say about this on the last episode, and then forgot to say it, and then just thought, I'll say it now, and then thought, no, it makes no sense to say it now, so I'll say it at the end.
Don't forget. We'll remind you, like King, say something. But yeah, so 1991. This is the what was it? So we've had 88 20-man, 89 first 30-man, 90 was 30. This obviously, yeah, we're getting into a pattern now. We're kind of sensing what the Rumble is. We're kind of getting that. It's not familiar to the modern day fans. Music is still lacking unless you're one of the first two people, but it's starting to feel more Rumble-esque.
This is the last Royal Rumble ever with no stakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because obviously next year is for the title, and then from then on is for a match at WrestleMania, except for 2016. But yeah, this is the last one where you don't get anything for winning.
I want to check on that because I was watching something, and then they sort of said that 94 was the first one that had the title shot earned, and I was like, I'm sure 90 they did it in 90.
No, 93 was
93. Because we'll see it, but they tie it into the Caesar's Palace theme at the end, because he comes out before the match and announces that they get a title shot.
I totally forgot about Julius Caesar, or the Julius Caesar impersonator coming out.
Yeah. Like Cleopatra
at Mania 9, but I totally forgot that he come out to like hype up Mania at the Rumble. They're like, "Oh yes, we are here to announce that it will be for the title match." It's like, fuck off. Go back to
yeah.
Come on.
Yes, the last one with nothing on the line. Yeah.
This is the Badger then. So, but it starts off as we said with the music. We get that awesome tune to start off with because Bret Hart comes in at number 1. Sorry, before we even start going on to the entrance, there's nothing to recap. There's nothing to kind of go over. I know obviously when we have guests on, we like to go through our previously favourites, least favourites, overrated, everything like that. I presume, we're just going to crack on with the Rumble.
Yeah. Here's what I'll do. A quick recap of anything that is relevant to this that's happened between 1990 and 91.
I like that.
Warrior won the belt. Everyone watched Hogan leave. Slaughter turned into an Iraqi sympathizer. The whole of the United States tried to kill Slaughter. Slaughter won the belt. And now we're here.
What happens earlier in this show dictates the answer to one of our end of show questions. So that'll be interesting later on. As how I feel about it. So that we'll get there at the end. But yeah, I like that recap. It's good.
Well, basically what you need to know going into this match. There's no real storylines that are going to be focused on in this. It's literally just, here's the Rumble. Enjoy.
So we start with, as I sort of said, that amazing, awesome, one of my favourite ever tunes. Bret Hart's music kicks in, because is he singles at this? Is he at the Hart Foundation split at this point? Is he a singles?
Still tag team champs at this point.
They are, so yeah, because they mentioned that, don't they, at some point? So I apologise.
Yes, yeah, they're still together. This is the fourth Rumble, and this is the second time he's been number one. Bret. They've always got to put a guy out there to start the match, don't they? Of his caliber.
Yeah, and then Dino Bravo as number 2.
Well documented that Vince had a lot of trust in Bret, and Bret, being the ring general that he was, for me, he's the perfect guy to stick in this and make him go the distance. Maybe not win the whole thing, but make him go the distance, because you've always got someone in there who can keep track of what's going on and keep a level of control. If you see what I'm going for from there.
Well, that's quite weird, because spoiler alert, apologies, but he gets outed in like 20 minutes, so he's only in it for like a quarter of the actual match itself. But I agree with you. I always expect Bret to be in there for a long ass time, so he can kind of keep control of stuff.
The way you said spoiler alert, like this show isn't from 1991.
You'd also think that
14 years before the 05 were born.
This was 3 months before I was born.
I was like 2, maybe 3 at this point, just jogging around, being a big fat toddler.
Fucking hell. 13.
Wow.
Oh God, Nick.
Sorry about that. Bloody hell, Dad.
I know.
Nick's tiring from the podcast after this one.
So yeah, Bret Hart, Dino Bravo, and a good old-fashioned Canadian Rumble to start with.
Yeah, I always thought it was a bit strange having Dino Bravo in. I mean, he wasn't in it long, but he's not. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe Bret wanted to work with him. I don't know whether Bret likes Dino Bravo or something, but he worked with Dino Bravo a lot when he turned singles in this year, like on MSG shows and Royal Albert Hall and all that rubbish. He was with Dino Bravo loads.
Well, Dino Bravo was like in French Canada. Wasn't Dino Bravo like he was Hogan, basically, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was pretty over. Like him and
he was the man in the French Canadian fucking sector. So it makes sense to me that Bret would want to work. Even if Bret hadn't worked with him much, it would make sense that Bret would want to work with him, being the Canadian fucking guy that he is. He'd have had a lot of knowledge and maybe even a lot of respect for Dino. So he would have probably been like, yeah, fuck it, throw me and Dino out there first. We'll just clobber each other for a bit, and then and we'll go from there.
Where are we for this show?
Oh,
I'm at home.
Oh, we're in Miami.
It's a good crowd, very good crowd.
It was good. Yeah, I liked it. I still, because the Rumble format is still very exciting. Because a battle royal is always, everyone loves a battle royal. Everyone loves a Rumble match. So I think we'll be hard pressed to find a crowd that isn't pretty good. For the most part.
I've always said that if I was going to go over to the States for a pay-per-view, like, it wouldn't be Mania, it would be the Rumble. Like, if I could pick anyone to go over and watch live, it'd always be the Rumble for me, because it's the best show of the year. It's always fun. It's just a laugh, isn't it?
You better get yourself clued up on the theme songs then, so you know who's coming out.
Speaking of who's coming out, how's it number 3? We have the Iron Man of one of our previous Rumbles, Greg the Hammer Valentine.
That's it.
Looking fucking 60 odd, even though he was probably only in his mid-30s at this point.
Looking like your grandma on a sun lounger in Benidorm. It does, doesn't it? Like, come on, Nana. But
it's another 20 minutes. I'll be in a bit. It's all right. I know where we're going for dinner. It's fine.
Now, I have a question. We'll talk about him when he comes out a bit later. But Rick Martel's in this match for just under an hour. Greg Valentine's in this match for 45 minutes. But why did he seem so different?
Greg just looks like he's falling all over the place, gassing to death. Whereas Rick, nearly an hour in, looks like he came out 2 minutes ago. Like, because Rick Martel was just a beast. Like, he was a fucking cardio beast in this match. I proved it in this match. Again, we said this last time. I'm very, very shocked that it took going to WCW for Rick Martel to win his first ever singles title.
He was the AWA World Champion, wasn't he?
No, I mean in the big, like, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, the AWA
post Hulkamania, basically.
It wasn't worldwide.
I'm with you. Did he win that belt by accident?
Champion.
Yeah, Greg Valentine. Does he have any moves?
The figure four leg lock.
And the elbow.
Oh yeah, he wins. He wears a shin pad, doesn't he? Yeah. No, that's fine.
Who comes out to number 4? And I'm putting the 4 up for a reason here, guys. The greatest horseman of all time. Oh, I felt sick just saying that. Fucking hell. Pretty Paul Roma.
Romeo Roma. Can we just talk really quickly? I mean, because I know that we don't talk about other pay-per-views during this series, but since last year, 1990, Paul Roma and Hercules got together as a team and became Power and Glory, and they were absolutely amazing. Like, they had a match with the Rockers at SummerSlam 1990, which was really good, and then they were in a Survivor Series match where they got to the final match, if you remember that year. And it's like, oh, Paul Roma. Yeah, cool.
That everyone who won got to be in the main event.
And they somehow were on opposite teams. You know what I mean? Like, how did they figure that out?
I'm thinking of the one where all the baby faces got to be on one team and all the heels, and you had like 12 heels on one side, and then you had Hogan.
No,
Warrior,
that's the one.
Tito.
That's the one. It was Hogan, Warrior, and Tito versus DiBiase, and then Power and Glory and Martel and that. But it's like, how did you know which team you were supposed to be on in kayfabe? You know, did they do a draw?
Team, come on, Bobby, it's not that fucking hard. Jesse Mitchell could have explained this for you in the first Rumble.
It's like, okay, Hogan, you've won your match, and DiBiase, you've won your match, but you have to be on opposite teams. Why?
Goodies versus baddies, you know, it's black and white, isn't it?
Well,
there's no
grey. Storming to the fucking ring like he hasn't got one foot.
Can we talk about this?
We need to talk about this, right? Because I'm not going to name who it was, but a wrestler said to me the other day, I had no idea that Texas Tornado only had one foot. And I was like, well, it's not obvious because the dude runs like fucking he's got two.
When I found out that years ago, when I found out that he only had one foot, I was like, when? Like, after he retired, yeah? Like, they had to amputate his foot. No, they just did it and then cracked on.
Before he got signed to the Fed, he lost his foot and just kept it a fucking secret. Just didn't tell no one.
It's incredible.
Mate, I cannot believe he runs faster with one foot than I do with two.
The thing that baffles me as well is that every time I've watched him since knowing this, last couple of years, I can only look at his feet.
Yeah.
Because it's like, which one? I don't know. It doesn't matter which one it is, but it's like, it's not doing anything.
It's got to be a block, hasn't it? Like literally like a foot-shaped block in his boot, and then for lack of a better way of putting it, the stump like on top of the block.
I think it's just I think he just puts his a frame on his stump, if you want to say, and then he just slots it into a foot and it's wedged in place. I don't know if he can do this. I can't believe it though. It's meant. Also, he looks like the Ultimate Warrior.
And he changed his name to Texas Tornado.
Yeah,
because they had too many warriors. They had the Road Warriors coming in, so they were Legion of Doom. He was the modern day warrior, and then they had to change him to Texas Tornado because they didn't want to have too many warriors because they were pushing Dingo Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior, wasn't it? That was the thing. That's why they classed him as the Ultimate. Just to besmirch everybody else before they came in.
Those other warriors.
Really over as well, though. Kerry Von Erich. Really over. Like, I know he had problems, and obviously we know what happened to him and all that. But he was really over. I know they gave him the IC title. I think he'd lost it by this point. But he was really over. Yeah, they should have done more with him.
I was a big fan back in the day. I love his punches as well. He just proper swings his arms, just the way that he punched everything.
Strikes for the time, like definitely one of the best strikers in the game. Like,
have you seen the film, by the way?
Say again.
Have you seen the Iron Claw?
Yes. Oh my god, I cried like a baby.
It's good. Even my wife doesn't like wrestling, but she watched it and she said it was good.
No shame. Twice, 2 parts of that movie had me absolutely bawling like a baby. It was the part where all the brothers who have passed away all meet up again. That had me crying. And then right at the end, when Kevin sat there with his 2 boys and he's crying and his boys are telling him not to cry, we'll be your brother's dad. Oh my God. No, that was it, mate. No. It's so fucking sad. I mean, I know that story back to front because one of my favourite WWE documentaries was the WCCW
one, yeah.
Great documentary. If people watching, if you've not seen it, hunt it down and find it, watch it because it's a fantastic WWE documentary. But oh my god, that film gets everything right. It really, bar maybe the fact that they left out one brother.
It wasn't important. It wasn't important enough.
Really wasn't important enough. No, but do you know what? Maybe I think it was a case of all these dudes killed themselves. Is it not too much to have like 4 of them committing suicide in the movie? No, let's just cut it down to 3.
There's a question for the Twitter feed or the polls. What wrestling story should get the Iron Claw treatment?
Wow.
Ring coming soon.
I know, but I want to see some Hollywood movie star get doped up on steroids like Zac Efron did. Give me Pedro Pascal as Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, fuck off. Pack it in now.
Oh, you know you want to see that.
I do. Yeah. Don't be teasing me with something we're probably never going to get. All right.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time.
Anyway, next in, the Iron Man himself, the Iron Claw, the Iron Man,
the Iron
Martel, the Iron
Model, Rick Martel. Fucking, I actually forgot he came in this early. I know he's in it for like an hour, but I for some reason I'm like, this match is like 2 hours long.
It's quite incredible actually. If this match is quite long, because if you think about it, usually people who go for like 50 to an hour, they usually come in the first 2 or 3, but he's not until number 6. So the match has already been going on for almost 10 minutes, and he's just there right to the end. But again, you know how I said about a couple of episodes ago about how DiBiase was in it for a long time, but he was always doing something. Like he was taking it to people. Like that's the thing with that. Martel got that job this year.
Yeah, he's all over it, all over the place in this one, Martel.
But he had to
as well. No, go on. I'm done.
I'll say he had a lot of very cool close elimination spots as well. It was always him that kind of got people on the edge of the seats. He's always kind of like going over or just landing on the apron or tethering. At certain points, I thought his arm. I was literally watching it. I'm like, his arm's gonna. his arm was like straight down. He had so much weight on top of him. I was like, Jesus, man. I was half expecting it to go push.
I feel like as we've gone on in the last we've gone on, we've noticed like first attempts at things. I feel like this was the first year where they did a lot of nearly eliminations. You know, where people hanging on, people dangling off the corner ropes and stuff like that. They had a lot of that in this match. I feel like I haven't seen that much so far.
We obviously had the shortest entrance at some point as well later in the Rumble. That's another first.
Oh, is this the Warlord one?
No, that was last year.
Was he in less time than the Bushwhacker?
Yeah, definitely. He literally steps in and goes, whereas Butch walks out. We'll get there. That's very funny.
Then just keeps going. Just Bushwhacker walks back out. Amazing elimination.
So great. And then the biggest star of the Rumble comes out next. Saba Simba.
Who is this guy? I've never seen him before in my life.
It's Tony Atlas.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even realise.
Yeah, so Tony Atlas had been in it, obviously.
What should we do with Tony now? Oh, I know. We'll make him an incredibly insensitive racist gimmick.
I know, it's horrible. It's stupid, isn't it? I feel like he was there. He was tag champions with Rocky's dad, Rocky Johnson, and then he was kind of. I don't know if he left or something, and then he went. I think he was homeless at one point.
No, that's Kamala.
Was it Kamala? I thought it was. This was.
You know, I can see why you're getting confused because Vince clearly saw Kamala at a smaller promotion. I went, can we get him? And he went, no. And he went, oh fuck it, just put Tony Atlas in similar gear then.
I swear it happened to him as well. And I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not trying to say something that I shouldn't be saying there, but no, I feel like that happened to him as well. No, I don't know. I think it may have been one of those situations where he left and then wanted to come back, and Vince has just gone, you want to come back, do you? Get a load of this gear. But yeah, really bad. It didn't last long. I don't think he was there by Mania.
I'm sure this is the only time we'll see him on the pod.
100%.
Yeah. We'll see Samba Simba again, which is I'm grateful for more than anything. Like,
but yeah, I mean, he's in it for literally 2.5 minutes, and then gone again.
He goes over Martel, doesn't he? Yeah, everybody thinks like Martel's gone, and then that's like it's the first time Martel does a little cheeky near escape. Yeah.
Everyone's. You'll see that everyone knows that Martel's been given this spot this year, so everyone's first to get in, and the first thing they do is go for him because they know that they won't throw him out. So they're putting over Martel's tenacity, I guess you want to call it. Yes, it's good.
Right, okay, there we go. The spot has literally just happened on my second screen down here. Samba Simba goes to body slam Martel out over the top, and as he does, Martel hooks the top rope, and Atlas goes flying straight out. Very nice little elimination. Very well done. I would also like to say the next one out, just before that happens, was I'm assuming Bushwhacker Luke.
No, it's Butch. I got it wrong before.
Now, obviously, because Luke comes in, walks in, gets thrown straight out, and walks out. That's the Bushwhacker spot that we all seem to talk about in this match. What we don't talk about is that Butch, or whichever one who comes in first, gets in, and before he touches anyone or anyone else touches him, he does a good 30 seconds of circling around the ring, smacking it up before anyone even bothers to touch him. They're just like, watch it. Go ahead, mate. It's a Joe Henry moment. It really is like everyone's just watching him fucking do his thing.
Good. That's what he should be doing. Like, I've got the times up here just because out of interest. I was like, well, if Luke is in it for like 3 seconds or whatever it is, how long's Butch in for? Answers on a postcard. How long is Butch in this match for? Don't look. Don't cheat.
15 minutes.
10 minutes.
He's in this match for 10 minutes. He's like a jobber. But he's in this match. He's in this match longer than Dino Bravo, Saba Simba. He's in it longer than Jimmy Snooker. He's in it longer than Hawk and Animal, both. And he's in it longer than Duggan and Warlord and Tugboat.
Tag team match. So Hawk
Brilliant.
has to limit what he can do because of his fucking Lloyd of London. You know what I mean?
That's very true. That is very true.
He's too busy trying to use the system.
It's a good point that you bring up about Butch, about getting his shine in, which is not actually doing any moves. It's just doing his taunt. But there's another guy later, I'll bring it up later, who understands what being in a Rumble you're supposed to do now. Especially these days. I'll bring it up later. Don't let me forget. But yeah. Good. Get your shit in.
That's what you're there to do. Why would you not do it?
And then
say who's next.
Go on, give it us, Nick.
You're the man with the name.
The most over man in every Rumble so far.
Next week, our all-time Rumble favourite, Jake Roberts, is out next, and he goes straight for Martel and carries that feud on. Which again, that's probably something I should have got in my recap, because they're feuding at the moment as well. They've got the infamous fucking blindfold match. And yeah, Jake immediately in, beeline for Martel, and then Martel does the classic, I'm going through the ropes and I'm fucking off for a minute.
Right, did anybody else clock Shane giving Martel a 10 count whilst he was stood on the apron?
Weird. That was definitely, I'm doing this because my dad owns the company. You will get back in.
Shane O'Mac is my favourite Rumble referee.
Is there an unwritten rule about Rumbles that you have to get in?
No. Even perfect example, this year's Rumble, fucking Ludwig Kaiser came out, didn't get in the ring, stayed on the outside till nearly the next guy came out. I mean, yeah, he got straight there, got eliminated, but he milked it. Like he waited and waited, and there is necessarily no rule. We've seen it before where guys haven't gone in, and then the guy coming in next has grabbed them and thrown them straight in, so them, so they are in there. But there's never been a rule that said you've got to get in as soon as you fucking, as soon as your number comes in, you've got to be in there.
I do wonder, if it go on.
Doesn't Jerry Lawler just go under the ring instead of getting in at one point?
Yes, actually, he does. That's in '97. Brilliant that. But yeah, it's. I always thought it's like an unwritten in kayfabe that if you're not in by the time the next guy comes out, you're out. But I guess that I just made that up.
No, you didn't. What that is in this Rumble, number 18 doesn't come out, and they specify that if he hasn't come out before the next person comes out, then he forfeits.
Oh, so they can come out, but if you don't come out at all, then they forfeit. Oh, okay, I like it. I've missed that.
Also, just while I remember, shout out to the commentary team for this one. Gorilla Monsoon and the legendary Roddy Piper.
I think I'm there.
It was a bit weird. I'm like there. Piper, because Piper at this point is a fucking big baby face. Yeah. Everybody loves Piper. So a babyface commentary team doesn't really work as well. But I just think personally, I think Piper on commentary is hilarious. Fucking hysterical. He's like
an excitable Jack Russell, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like everything he does is like real. Everything that happens is the best thing he's ever seen. He can be a bit too enthusiastic, but what I do like about him is that he doesn't do it to a point where it's really grating. It's like he's really good. He puts everyone over no matter what. Like he was complimenting Martel the whole time, like Valentine. That he was putting heels over who were actually doing. They weren't cheating. He was actually actively encouraging it. Yeah.
He was more of a straight down the middle colour commentator, which is a weird thing in even today. Like, you have your play-by-play who's normally the straight guy, and then you got your colour commentator who normally it leans one way or the other. 9 times out of 10, they lean more towards heel. And Piper's he's still Piper. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's Roddy Piper. He can say what the fuck he wants. But he loves everyone. He's just like, that guy's fucking great. That guy's great. Oh, look at that guy. He's just like you said, he's like an excitable fucking Jack Russell, but with a gob.
I can't believe he's been in this match that long, man. I've got a challenge for you, especially you, Mike. You've got Roddy Piper is on colour commentary at SummerSlam 1990, but his partner is Vince McMahon. I need you to watch at least one match from this show and let me know if
Bob,
he coped.
I will go and watch the whole pay-per-view when this is done.
It's like
punishment.
You got Vince, who you don't like, and Piper, who you do like, and it's like, does it work?
Look, I can probably tolerate Vince. There's probably one commentator in the whole of WWF around about this period who I just genuinely cannot stand. I mean, Vince is awful, but as long as it's not Lord Alfred Hayes, I'll be all right. Yeah, go on, walk away. He gave all British people a bad name.
I think he's great.
Awful commentator, terrible. Sorry to speak ill of wherever the fuck he is, but I don't know if he's dead. I don't fucking follow his life. But he was awful commentator.
Okay, I will put my hands up and say that the only match I've ever actually heard him call was one match at WrestleMania 7, and I liked it. So that's probably it. But yeah, he probably is bad.
Terrible commentator. Could not do with it. His voice grates on me. It's just horrible. I don't know. And like for me, at that period in time, like watching this as a kid, like we didn't have much English representation in WWF. We had the Bulldogs and we had Lord Alfred Hayes. That was it.
You had to go over to the other side with your boy Norman Smiley.
Oh no! We're going to talk about the one of the best ever hardcore champions at some point towards the end of this rumble, aren't we? I just remembered.
Oh no! Yeah, no. We'll get there. But where are we? So Jake, for me,
Jake, yeah.
Still especially in the first half of this match, is probably the most over person in this match. Again, still, I mean, he turns heel very soon. After like this summer, which was a weird thing to do. See how over he was still.
See, I think that there's got to be a reason he turned him heel, because I think he's living in the land of the giants. You've got Hogan, big huge babyface. You've got Warrior, big huge babyface. Savage, they're gonna, at this point they're already prepping to bring Savage back as a big babyface. I think the only way Jake was gonna get anywhere business-wise was if Jake turned heel.
Well, that's probably what happened, because obviously at Mania 7, Savage retires.
Yeah.
So they needed a new top heel. So I get it. Next up, the man who doesn't do anything. What do you say?
Bad News Allen.
No, Bob, I was going to, like, as you just said, they needed a new big heel, so obviously they turned Jake. But to me, again, this was another opportunity to do something with DiBiase that they just didn't do.
I know he's stuck in the feud with Virgil at this point, isn't he?
I think that this is the starting point, isn't it, of the feud with Virgil? Because he's just it was on this show. We had the tag match.
Yeah.
The American Dream and the original American Nightmare, Dustin Rhodes. If you know, you know.
Yeah. Hercules Hernandez, go.
The power in Power and Glory.
Who cares?
The big guy who made Paul Roma look semi-decent.
He must be a really nice guy.
Yeah, because he had a job for Yonks.
He was, because obviously, if you watch OSW review, they talk about this. He's on WrestleMania 2 and he's on every pay-per-view from WrestleMania 2 to Royal Rumble 92. He's on every one. Or he's on at least 20 shows. I don't know if he's on every one, but he's just always there, which is quite impressive for a guy who doesn't really do much.
Considering he's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say shit because he's not shit. He's a very forgettable wrestler.
He just must be a really nice bloke.
Anyway, fuck Hercules Hernandez, because who comes out next?
Chico. Tito.
Is it?
It is, yeah. Tito's 11.
Maybe I missed that one then, because
yeah, the only note I wrote down for Tito was, "Oh, no racism this year. Cool."
Racism. Well, we had the racism earlier on when Samba Simba came out, so you've had your fill of racism for this show.
Okay.
Tick that box. We don't have to talk about Chico.
Tito does the same thing he does in every Rumble. Attacks Martel, gets jobbed out. Okay, next.
Look at this ham hock.
Can we just? I've written notes about this. I think I texted a couple of weeks. I think I might have texted when I watched this the first time. The Undertaker is so fucking weird. Because he comes out, he doesn't have his hat on or his jacket or his tie. He walks quite quickly, and he's like mugging, and he comes in and he's fast, but not in the good way. Like
he walks to the ring like he's just been set on fire by his own pyro.
yeah, it's really strange. It's insane. It's like he's got he's got Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard. He's got Brother Love. He's got no gear. He's got no gimmicks. He sells like a normal person, and he doesn't wrestle like the Undertaker. It's really strange. But when you get to WrestleMania 7 in 3 months, he does. So I don't know if Paul Bearer's come in and just said, "Stop that shit immediately." Like, you're not selling for anyone.
The biggest time we've seen him prior to this would have been Survivor Series' debut, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Comes out to Survivor Series, he no-sells and jobs everyone out. Which
that's what was so weird, because he did it. He did it.
I was going to say and then he's probably just been working jobbers from Survivor Series to the Rumble, which means, again, guys who are getting no offense whatsoever, he's coming out, he's jobbing them out, fucking boom, 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 boom. You get to the Rumble, and he's gone in there, and he's in there with names, with like real fucking wrestlers. So he's probably got in there with the at this point, he's not 100% into the Undertaker gimmick. He's only been doing it a couple of months, and he's probably slipped back into Mean Mark Callis for this.
That's definitely it. And that's a great point. I never thought of that. When you see him get eliminated later, you know how the Undertaker in this era got eliminated from stuff. He'd always get clotheslined over the top. He'd go back and he'd land on his feet, and he'd just he'd flick the hair up and he'd just walk off. Whereas in this match, he gets clotheslined out by the Road Warriors, and he's like selling it, and it's just like, stop! This is so weird. Again, like I said, he's not on his he's not had his Hasbro final form yet.
He's the one that's letting us down this time, because even Perfect, when we get to him, I think everybody else is pretty much in their Hasbro form. It's just Taker that's letting us down.
I will say, Taker eliminates Bret Hart with a double-handed chokeslam over the top rope.
It was so nasty.
Beautiful.
I think he does. If I remember, does he like choke bomb him out basically?
He picks him up, walks to the ropes, and just goes. And Bret manages to catch the top rope as he goes over, but Bret takes a fucking tumble.
He does this to Fatu in like 93 or 94, or it happens to Fatu, and it's like the nastiest elimination I've seen for ages. It's like, stop eliminating people like that. No, it's good.
Oh, I'm against what Bobby just said. More eliminations like that.
Well, okay, fair
I want
enough.
to see more disgusting eliminations in Royal Rumbles. None of this smooth going over the top rope, landing on your feet bollocks. I want possible injuries from eliminations. That's what I want.
I want Taka on the floor.
30
Not-
Takamichinoku eliminations in a Rumble. That's all I want.
Not an
30
official
guys
entry.
making faces.
Who's next? Jimmy Snuka. Jacked, man. 47 now.
How old? I was gonna say, how old is he this time?
What did I say last week? Did I say he was 46? Yeah, so 46, 47. He's just a flipping monster, isn't he?
Sorry,
Like,
I'm
I know.
literally just Undertaker. Choke Texas Tornado on the floor and bring him up by the neck. and continue, not do anything when he's got him up either, just continue to just choke him. No choke slam. No throwing him over. No, it's just, fuck you. you.
Yeah, I mean,
Look, his hair's gotten wilder in this one though as well.
Whose?
He's got no headband. No, not. He's just Snooker's just got fucking an afro at this point.
I saw that. I mean, it's a bit of a theme about this match, if I'm being honest. I mean, we'll talk about it at the wrap up later. For me, there's just a lot of nothing that happens for a while. You know, Snooker's in, and it's like, okay.
You know what? I'm going to say the thing that I was going to save for later. I'm going to say it now. This feels like a watered down version of last year's.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very much a rinse repeat of the 1990 Rumble, and it's just not as good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, with the way that the match ends as well, which we'll get there later, won't we? But it's basically the same. Yeah, copy and paste, isn't it?
Pretty much is like the same. I think that's why the 92 Rumble is the way it is. I think, you know, the powers that be, whoever was in charge of booking the Rumble, has looked at that and gone, we can't do that again next year, because if we do that again, it's shit on this. This pay-per-view won't last.
Well, this is actually the finish of every Rumble so far. It's one babyface versus two heels, which is fine, but it's literally the same ending for all four Rumbles so far, which I didn't actually notice that until just now.
Taker was selling for Greg Valentine, and that just literally just proved your point there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Valentine shots and Taker's like, Jesus! Oh, his chest! Fuck off.
That's what I mean. It's like, no, you can't. No, stop doing that. Hey, British Bulldog's back. Number 14, the Bulldog.
One of the best runs in the business. I piss myself every time I see it.
His braids. Best thing this dude ever did was put those braids in his hair. I don't care what anyone says.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, definitely. This is his first match back, because this is the first match since they left, and he's come back as the British Bulldog. He's not Davey Boy Smith anymore.
It's not Davey Boy. He's the British Bulldog.
Good reaction. You know, I was always really impressed with the fact that he always got a really good pop despite being British.
Do you know what? It is quite mad. Like, he was always over as fuck. Like, always got a great reaction. Always at the crowd, eating out of the palm of his hand. And yeah, never got that with Brit. You don't really get that nowadays with any British wrestlers, because 9 times out of 10 they turn them fucking heel.
I think the recap that you do at the start is really good for this now, because we've got history now. So, like, if you look at WrestleMania, like last year, if you look at Rumble last year, those two start the match. They have a really good showing. They win the belts at WrestleMania 6 and a massive pop, and then they turn them heel in the summer, and then they add Crush, and then Axe retires.
You know why they turned them heel? Because they brought the LOD in.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
Who needs our own fucking homemade LOD when we've got the real deal? And
Yeah, exactly.
This
And
was
it
one of
killed him.
those. This was one of those weird examples of where Vince chose the outside creation over one of his own, because he knew the Legion of Doom. There was no way he could put Demolition over the Legion of Doom.
That's actually That's a great point. You could probably name on like one hand when he picks someone.
Oh yeah,
from outside.
It was always for Vince. It was always about his own creations. It was always about the guys that he made. He makes the gimmick. He puts them over. He builds them up. But there was no way you could bring in the Road Warriors, even with a name change, and not expect them to be the most over tag team in your tag team division.
I'm actually struggling to think of other examples. I've got the Road Warriors, probably Flair.
Yeah, I was going to say Flair as well.
Modern day, probably AJ Styles.
Yeah,
like because he was
Sid.
over, but then who? Sid.
Maybe, yeah, because he had a lot. He put a lot into Sid, and Sid was originally a WCW guy. Maybe not a big WCW guy, but he was a WCW guy.
But yeah, I mean, I love the Road Warriors, but them coming into the WWF in 1990 kind of killed Demolition. Which is a shame because they were flipping. Well, they were so good. And then speaking of LOD, Hawk comes out next.
Well, Jake gets eliminated first by Erich.
Again, very unceremoniously.
It's a proper blink then you missed it kind of fucking elimination. It's the kind of elimination that if we had social media, we'd have found out that he was smashing shit up backstage afterwards because the camera angles weren't right.
There's still a few of them, isn't there, where they're not quite getting it just right.
Again, like we've said, they're still finding the feet with the Rumble, and camera angles is going to be a big thing for this because not everyone at this point, people aren't working the cameras.
No, not at all.
And you've not got anywhere near as many cameras as you would have in a modern day Rumble, so not everything's going to get caught. But yeah, Jake's out, and then Hawk comes in looking fucking insane. Just, oh my god! Do you know what? I always remember when Paul Heyman said that he could, if he could have Hawk as a singles guy, he could have built a promotion around him. And you watch him in some of the earlier matches, and oh my god, he's right. Hawk would have been a fucking stellar singles wrestler. He had everything. He was big. He was quick. He had charisma. He could cut a fucking promo. He did literally have every tool that you need in the game.
He's the same age as me here. 34. Well, I'm 34 soon. He's 34 at this point. I mean, how can he be so young?
3 years ago, fucking hell, I could have looked like that. Look, the hair's nearly there.
There's a cosplay for you, I'm telling you.
Put a bit of face paint on, walk around going, well.
And then the greatest Royal Rumble entrant of all time. Who's taking it through? Who's giving us?
What, Bob? Since you can give it to us.
Shane Douglas. What the fuck?
The franchise.
Genuinely thought he'd never came into WWE until he was Dean Douglas. When he came out in this Rumble, I was like, has someone made him on Create a Wrestler mode and just snuck him into this? It's fucking Shane Douglas, mate. Oh. And he was still shit back then as well.
I mean, the thing that's amazing is that obviously at this point he was literally doing dark matches and superstars tapings against no one. I think he replaced. I think I've ever read this. Did some research. I think he replaced Sags.
I was going to say
Jerry Sags because Knobs is in it later.
He definitely must have been in there filling in for someone because there's no way Shane Douglas was getting into this Rumble off his own back.
I mean, the look, because I want to, because I watched this from like this point till the end. I watched today, so I did a bit of, so Shane Douglas was, job guy, not job guy. He was more of a dark match kind of guy, and then he filled in for Shawn Michaels in the Rockers for a little bit off on house shows when Shawn was injured. But then that's literally it. And then he just gets put in the Rumble, and he's in there for quite a while actually. But they don't talk about him. Like
they do a few times. They big him up a couple of times.
Do they?
So it's like Piper, like you said, Piper hypes him up like a motherfucker. He's kind of like being like, oh, it takes a lot of balls for a kid this young to enter a match like this. It'd be very easy for him to be like, no, mate, I ain't doing it. But no, the kid's got balls. So oh, sweet.
Us talking about balls as already.
He's extreme.
Just if you wanted to put a tally chart of how many former WCW hardcore champions are in this match, you can start with 1. Wait, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is, isn't he? He was definitely one, wasn't he, Shane Douglas?
The only hardcore champions, the only WCW hardcore champions I remember are Norman Smiley, Terry Funk, and Ming. Oh, no, and Nasty Boy Knobs.
Yes, he was. I just had to fact check this. Yes, he was. So yes, we've got 1. And then next is what we talked about before. The buzzer, the timer goes down, the buzzer hits, and nothing happens. Because what happened earlier in the night, which actually I really like this in a way, because it's Randy Savage. So earlier in the night, if you've not seen the show, earlier in the night, Randy Savage, he batters him. You must have seen it, where he hits Warrior in the head with the scepter.
Oh God, yeah.
He absolutely cream crackers him. And then
isn't it during the promo with Sherry, where Sherry's begging Warrior for a title match?
That's earlier in the show. She's begging him for a title match, and Warrior tells her to fuck off, basically. And then later in the title match against Slaughter, Macho comes out and absolutely fucking leathers him with this scepter, and then Slaughter hits an elbow and wins. But yeah, Savage fucking pelts it, and he doesn't turn up for the Rumble, because that's what you should do. He shouldn't come out again. He should be running away.
It would have only made sense for him to have come out again if Warrior then followed him out, and Warrior was the guy to eliminate him, and then they fucking brawl to the back. So you're right. It makes no sense, because it now sells the fact that Warrior was done in so bad as well.
I also like it more because there's no stakes in this match. If this was if this was any year from now, where it was for a title match, I think Savage in kayfabe would have been in this match.
Yeah.
But the fact that there isn't, and it's just he doesn't need to be in it. He's running away from Warrior, which sets up their feud. So this match actually has not including the first one, the least amount of competitors in it.
Next out is Animal.
Yep. Big dude.
The pop when those pair eliminate Taker, unreal.
It's like the camera shakes.
I was going to say, you see the whole audience is up on their feet. When they double clothesline Taker out, the place just erupts. And that's a moment that's again, it's a reason why you have LOD over Demolition, because they're just more over. No matter where you are, they're going to be more over, because they've spent the last 10, 15 years at this point just demolishing everyone on the territories. So everyone all over the country has seen them do this, and now you're getting to see them do it on the biggest possible stage. So all those fans in Miami are going fucking wild, and rightfully fucking so. So I'm swearing a lot tonight. Sorry, guys.
Because we're pumped up, man. We're pumped up.
But then Hart comes very quickly afterwards.
I was going to bring this up. Like, they do the double clothesline. Taker goes out, and then they just throw out Hawk immediately. I'm like, was he supposed to do that? Yeah, was it supposed to? Were you supposed to do that?
Piper had the best line though as a result, because Piper was like, "Oh, Hawk was there with his tongue out, and next thing he knows, he's licking the floor."
That's good. No, that is very good. That's very good.